right, guys, I wanted to cover this yesterday, but I was unable to. But now I've taken the time to think about this. I have a lot to say about this extremely insane idea that Donald Trump has. And listen, Donald Trump has a lot of insane ideas, a lot of stupid ideas. But this is the highlight, I guess, of this week, the start of this week. We'll see what happens next week, whatever industry he decides to attack and harass. But let me go ahead and present this to you, then I'll share more of my thoughts in just a bit. But Donald Trump says he's pursuing 100% tariffs on movies produced outside U.S., calling runaway production a national security threat, which is ridiculous. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this. And the story has been updated since then, but I'll still, read it. We'll get into it. Update of additional comments from Trump. Donald Trump said that he is ordering the U.S. Trade Representative and the Commerce Department to begin the process to impose 100% tariff on imports of movies that are produced in foreign lands. Calling runaway production a national security threat, Trump's comments follow reports that one of his special ambassadors to Hollywood, John Voight, was devising a plan to save the entertainment industry. Great job, John. Great job, John Voight. Listen, at this point, John Voight should do one of two things. Shut the fuck up and retire. All right, rest on the laurels that you still have. All right, no one wants to see your boner, in Megapolis, or go hunt anacondas in the Amazon. That would be great. That would be the ideal, personally, for me. That would be wonderful, but I don't want him advising any political leader, especially Donald Trump. And here we go. Trump wrote on Truth Social, his social media platform, Truth Social, ironic. The movie industry in America is dying, all caps. A very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. That's not true, but okay. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I'm authorizing the Department of Commerce and United States representative to immediately begin the process of instituting 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want more movies made in America. Again. Trump later told reporters other nations have been stealing the movie capability of the United States. I said to a couple of people, what do you think? I have done some very strong research over the last week. He is not. Okay, let's call that out. He is not doing any research. The man can barely read. All right, we know that's not true. And we are making very few movies now. Also not true. We've been making more movies than ever. Hollywood is being destroyed. Now you have a grossly incompetent government that allowed that to happen. So I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them have stolen our movie industry. If they are not willing to make a movie inside the United States, and we should have a tariff on movies that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money. They are supporting them financially. So it's sort of a threat to our country in a sense. It's not, but okay. Yeah, it's been a very popular thing. Movie makers love it. Okay, sure. Voight has met with various guild officials and studio executives in recent weeks, and there was some expectation of a federal tax incentive. Like, that makes sense. It's like, okay, a tax incentive. But there's long been a push within the industry for a more robust federal tax incentive, yes, as opposed to state tax breaks as a way to keep more production in the United States. Union representatives have been raising the idea of a federal tax break to further incentivize domestic production. For some time, as production crews have seen the loss of work over many years. Like, okay, that's reasonable. But among other studios, there's also been a concern that Trump would try to impose restrictions on filming overseas. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. As generous incentives in the UK, Canada, Australia, long have lured Hollywood studio tentpole production. Major Hollywood studios have come to depend on those overseas incentives as a way to try to reduce production costs. Spokesperson for the Motion Picture Association did like comment, I'm sure. Trump's announcements did not make mention of TV series production. There's so many things that were, not mentioned. Trump, as he often does, talks in a very broad sense. He's not a guy about specifics, the minutiae of things. He doesn't have the mental capacity to discuss those types of things in depth. Which produce heavily in Canada. Streamers like Netflix do a heavy share of the production outside the U.S., along with licensing foreign content. It's unclear, of course, how Trump's call for 100% tariffs will work, including how they'll be implemented. Yeah. Another issue is when a tariff may be imposed of productions that may shoot parts overseas and parts in the United States or do post-production in the U.S. Yeah. Trump's existing tariffs do not apply to services, and there currently is a World Trade Organization moratorium on digital goods that is in effect through 2026. Also unclear is whether a tariff could apply to movies already in production overseas or partially in foreign countries, like Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which has been shooting in Morocco, with plans for other locations, including Sicily. But currently, sources tell us The Odyssey is shooting in Los Angeles on a studio lot soundstage. Additionally, Disney, Marvel's Avengers Doomsday is filming in the UK. Legendary produced and Warner Bros. Distributed Dune Messiah, the third film in the franchise, set to start filming in Hungary in September. This follows up in the 2022 shoot for the Oscar-nominated Dune Part 2, which also took place in the Viktor Orban-ruled nation. Spokesperson of the U.S. Trade Representatives and the Commerce Department did not merely return a request for comment. Trump is complaining about trade deficits as he imposed tariffs in other countries, but the movie industry has been a bright spot. Exactly. According to the Motion Picture Association, the industry generated a positive balance of trade in every major market in the world, with exports 3.1 times that of imports. The industry produced $22.6 billion exports and $15.3 billion in trade surplus. Trump's point, though, was to keep that production within the U.S. That said, other countries could respond to the 100% tariff with their own duties on U.S. films, great, which would make an impact on national box office returns, which are a huge chunk of major studio revenue, 100%. Disney, the global box office leader, 2024, drew $2.23 billion in the U.S. and $3.23 billion internationally. Last month, in response to Trump's 145% tariffs on goods from China, Beijing responded by vowing to reduce the number of U.S. movies imported into the country. Our one economist, Justin Wolfers, at the University of Michigan, ridiculed Trump's proposal. As far as I can tell, the rationale for Trump's deranged new tariffs on movies is just that he has learned that folks in other countries compete for business, and he doesn't like it. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And John Voight said, he suggested tariffs. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing. He probably just like, maybe tariff certain aspects. And Trump's like, we could tariff movies, and that's all he heard. Wait until he hears about it every single other sector in the economy. The chat, I don't think this is a controversial, hyperbolic thing to say, but Trump's idea to tariff the film industry is fucking stupid. Trump's idea to tariff the film industry is profoundly stupid for a variety of reasons. So many reasons that I can go into, but there were some that really just stuck out to me. First of all, we don't have a trade deficit when it comes to entertainment. I know you always hear about, China and India, and they're huge, movie companies, they're production companies. They are certainly big, but they're not as big as American companies. We are the single biggest manufacturer of entertainment across the planet, across Earth, okay? We have so many different things in active development, in pre-production, post-production. I mean, we are the premier group. All right, we're the premier nation when it comes to entertaining not only our own citizens, but citizens across the globe, right? So to think that there is some sort of deficit, and when it comes to entertainment, it's ridiculous. Now, I think there should be more incentives from a number of American cities and states, and perhaps at the federal level, as was suggested. And the concern about that is legitimate. But it has to happen locally, by these places, by these communities that absolutely, they need to change it. It shouldn't be so expensive, for example, to film in Los Angeles or New York. All right, those issues absolutely 100% need to be addressed. However, throwing on 100% tariffs on every film or production or whatever, because again, these just get very specific, not made in the United States or part of the production not made in the United States, it's just asinine. It's counterintuitive. It's just downright stupid. I mean, what's most likely going to happen? Like, there's a few things that just instantly came to mind when hearing about this news and just going, oh my God. Foreign films, number one, foreign films are less likely to be bought and distributed, or at the very least, they're going to be paid for far less to buy them or straight up distribute them. So there's just going to be such a lack of foreign films shown here in the United States, because if they're going to be so much expensive to bring over here, then why would they actually pay for them? So that's really frustrating. All these amazing foreign movies across all different types of countries, whether it be in Europe or in Asia or wherever else, it's just like, and we watch a lot of that type of content. We consume a lot of that content. We love anime, for instance. Are we going to now see less anime because of this? Because of these decisions? It's ridiculous. But apparently chat, Princess Mononoke, which was released a couple weeks ago, they re-released it in IMAX, made it even prettier than it is. Beautiful movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. That movie, Princess Mononoke, Studio Ghibli, the makers of Spirited Away and Porco Rosso, they're a national security threat. Okay. I mean, the second that comes to mind, budgets would just increase exponentially across numerous productions, and not just, these big budgeted films, but these mid-tier budgeted movies, these independent films. I mean, this will kill independent film 100%. Because why would you want to? Because the most attractive aspects of independent films, like they're made to be cheap, they're inexpensive, and now you're gonna double their budgets and their production costs. It doesn't make it. It's ridiculous. And then speaking of production, there's going to be a decrease in production across the film industry. There's going to be fewer films being made now, and certainly less smaller budgeted and mid-budget movies overall. Now all you're going to get are these big budget movies. There's going to be a lack of creativity. People are not going to want to do original fare. Like, oh no, we got to capitalize on what people already know. So base it off this book, base it off this video game, base it off this TV show, base it off this film franchise that we've already had. Do a sequel, do a legacy sequel. It's going to be more of that. And what's also going to happen, it just shows how counterintuitive the idea of these tariffs are. There's going to be a loss of jobs across various sectors in the entertainment industry. And, the people who most likely are going to be affected are, of course, these bigwig executives. They'll feel a little pain, but, who's going to feel more of that pain? Just the people who work on set every day. Everyone from the assistants to the people in the VFX industry, people who do makeup, the fucking boom mic guy. They're all going to see their salaries cut. They're all going to lose work because of this. And as what everyone's been asking, this is my last thing, because we just don't know. Like, what are we even specifically targeting with the tariffs? It's like we're putting 100% tariffs on foreign-made movies and productions that are happening overseas, but, like, what's being specifically tariffed? Is it the production cost of the entire film? So, example, if a movie costs like $150 million and it sits as 100% tariff, are we then going to charge an additional $150 million on top of that? Right? Are we going to be tariffing ticket prices? Right? So is that going to just slash the income of these movies? It's just going to make everything expensive. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, again, Trump, I think, part of me also, and this has been brought up by other people, I think you're right. I think, remember back in 2019, or I guess it was 2020 technically, before the pandemic, when they had the Oscars, and of course, Parasite won. It won Best Picture, Best Director, won a number of other Academy Awards. It came out in a very competitive year, but Parasite, amazing year. One of the best years of film personally in my lifetime. So many movies that year I love. But my absolute favorite movie was Parasite, and Parasite won. It was the first foreign film to win Best Picture, right? I was like, oh, that's a great movie. And, Trump came out, and he didn't like that. And he made fun of it, even though having obviously not seen it. It's like a film from South Korea. It's like, what? Doing all that whole spiel. And I think part of him he just doesn't like that. I think it's stuck in his craw for all these years. It's always percolated. It's always been there. And I feel like just John Voight brought up the idea of tariffing certain aspects in the film industry, and I don't know to what extent. Listen, I have a lot of issues with John Voight, but I personally don't think he said put 100% tariff on films. I think it's kind of ridiculous. But he heard that, and I think in combination with hearing about how Parasite won, I feel like those two just fucking connected. Like tariff all these foreign-made productions, all productions overseas. I really think that's what had happened. Because, Trump, as much people think he's this master negotiator, the art of the deal, he's not. He's a very simple man, He usually is very reactive. He doesn't take time to think about it, doesn't take time to speak with his advisors, obviously, like any sensible politician or president would. You want to speak to experts on these matters. He's just like, go, we're going to do it that. It's like whatever comes to mind, and everyone's going to love it. Everyone's going to love me. Please love me. Please, for the love of God, love me. And that's what it is, and yeah, I think this is just a huge mess, and if this happens, this will just have such a profoundly negative effect on the film industry, and which already is having problems, and I highlight some of those issues, but this is just not the way to go about it at all. So yeah, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating, especially for a medium that I love. As much as I love to complain about, and we all do, it's a medium that I love. It's a medium that we always celebrate, that whether we do through reviews or watch parties or whatever else, it's just, so you just never think like something like this would happen, but here we go. It's very frustrating, disappointing, and, just scary. So yeah, now I'm going to keep looking at this. We're going to keep covering this, and maybe this was all fucking hot. Like you would hope at the very least it's just hot air. It's just him bullshitting, because he loves to do that. It's just his narcissism, being blared out for everyone to hear. But, it's something to, obviously keep an eye on. But we'll see. We'll see. He has to commune with his Hollywood ambassadors, Jon Voight and Sylvester Stallone and Mel Gibson, who I'm sure are giving him sage advice. Sage advice, which he probably won't even listen to anyway. What about you guys? What do you think of this story? I think it just sounds, it just sounds terrible. It's very concerning. It's just going to hurt everything we love, and I think that really sucks. But what about you guys? How do you feel about this? Let me see. Oh, man. I vote leave his ass in the Amazon. Let's leave his ass in the Amazon. Does he have any laurels left? Nah. Pratt's movie. He says the box office finally bouncing back. Minecraft, Sinners, and Thunderbolts. Yeah. Can you focus on fucking up one thing at a time? He seems to pick, he likes to cover a lot. He does, have one thing that's like the apple of his eye every week that does, come across his mind. Does he not know that some of the most acclaimed, successful, and popular movies in history were shot in other countries? He does. I don't think so. He does not. Trump, because of his lack of intelligence and narcissism, and you can just tell, it's like, he just doesn't know. But you have to speak, I get the sense you have to speak in such a way where, you got to talk to him as a child, but at the same time, you can't be I don't know, the only way to get through to him is just to, I think you have to compliment him along. He's like, oh, Mr. President, it's totally understand your concerns about the film industry and something like that. So that's a very broad move, very broad, powerful move. But there's other aspects, but right? You got to kind of guide him, I feel like. You got to stroke his fucking ego. You got to kiss his ass and tell him he's wrong at the same time. I think that's the only way you can get through. That's the only way you can get through to a narcissist, right? And believe me, I've had the displeasure of being around a lot of narcissists in my life. He just wants to control the type of movies we watch. That's another part of it too, producer. You make a very good point. It's also because him saying it's a national security threat, it's propaganda. He also just doesn't like the spread of ideas. He doesn't he wants movies to be a single thing to fit his specific vision. So doesn't want any black people in movie. Doesn't want any Asian people in any movie. Doesn't want any of those gays in movies. He doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want any of those woke things, those woke black people. He doesn't like that shit, right? A movie like Sinners is a nightmare to conservatives, So it's just oh my God, it's it's the putting the fear of God in them. They don't want that. So good point. A very good point, Produce Graphics. Thank you for bringing that up. You're right. What about visual effects animation produced for outside of the U.S.? Those would be affected too. All those would be affected. Hey, Disney and ABC want to stop kissing Trump's ass. I know. That's the other thing too. Is everyone thinks Disney, they're very left leaning. They're doing this. Disney just fucking they suck. They do this, and they see where the wind's blowing. That's what they do. All right, that's what most of these companies do. All right, and once they feel like something is shifting in a different direction or whatever, they're like, all right, well, we're going that direction now. Don't ever trust those types of companies. You want to make sure the only movie you could watch are Dinesh D'Souza movies. Oh my God, yeah. It's to put a fire under people's ass, stop limb gay wave shit. Yeah, we'll see. Man, wouldn't know a good idea if it grew legs, kick him in the balls. Evan of Twitch, welcome. Man, The High Castle, last of season 2, Shogun, Midnight Mass were all filmed 1 hour away from where I live. Canada! Our enemy! Canada makes a great film look good. It does. It does. There's a sensible way to get jobs for crew members who maybe can't afford, just don't want to travel out of the country. There are issues, but yeah, 100%. And those need to be addressed, but this is just not the way to go about them. The gaffers are fucked. Yeah. Maybe he did see it and just couldn't figure out, and it was. I'm pretty sure he did not watch Parasite. I'm pretty confident saying that. I don't think he ever has. I don't think he ever will. No, one of the only things getting me through life, knowing that trouble someday die before. Yeah, that's true. He will die. He will die, although, man, hate keeps you alive a long time. It keeps you alive a very long time. It's true. It's true. Empress was out. My mom asked me about it, and I told her it was a South Korean film with subtitles, and she sadly dismissed it. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, and it's true. The United States, it's like, yeah, you have a lot of Americans who are just like, they don't like reading. It's true. It's so true. And they don't like the idea of a foreign movie or having to read it or something. That just like turns them off because they just don't. Most likely, they just don't know how to read, or they struggle with reading. So it's just like movies are one of the very small handful of things that get me through the day. He's a classic example of the Emperor has no clothes. 100%. That's exactly what he is. Let me tell you how this is going to go in the trash. What a fucking joke! I swear I feel dumber living in today's society. I don't feel dumber. I personally, I don't think we should feel dumber. It just like, we realize like, oh, there's a lot of dumb fucking people. there just is. There's a lot of dummies out there, and they're very tribalistic, and they're like, yeah, our team is winning. And that's how they view it. It's not until something starts to personally affect them that they feel like, oh, right. And I feel like this would be like one of those things that would start to affect people. People go like, wait a minute, right? That's what it takes because they're dumb. It's like that frog in boiling water. Like the frog doesn't realize it's boiling alive until it's too late. So, meanwhile, we're fucking trying to get out of there. I feel like this is nothing less than ridiculous at its finest. And again, isn't it what the current administration's best? It really is. Yeah. Everything has to be explained to him with a pop-up picture. It really does, yeah. You gotta, he can't read. Like, you have to give him bullet points. You have to, because you've read all about that stuff where his name has to be constantly mentioned for him to pay attention because of his narcissism. It's like, Jesus. He's an attention-seeking hoe. He wants to be Pope. I'm like, the man just, I know. I saw that, too. I want to see Sinister, but he won't. No, he'd be like, it's woke black people in the movie. It's a terrible movie. The black people are killing the white people. The vampires are very nice. The vampires just want to come inside, and why don't they invite them inside? Why? And then that wonderful businessman, the Hogwater, that wonderful businessman, he gave him that wonderful venue, right? And then Mr. Hogwater brought all of his friends back in the morning to see how it went, and then he did those horrible things. Mr. Hogwater and all his wonderful white friends. It was terrible. Terrible movie. Racist against white people. So bad. That's where he would go. And she's always been very conservative leaning, which is kind of gross whenever they try to trumpet their first. Yeah, I know. LGBT racial character. That's always in the background. That tertiary character, like LeFou in Beauty and the Beast. And then it's like, but when they premiered the fucking film in Saudi Arabia, like all that shit's gone, or that character's been removed, or like when they showed Star Wars: The Force Awakens and in China, and they make John Boy, even though he's very prominent in the poster, we're gonna make him very little in the poster. It's like, what the fuck, it's just like, yeah, so no, it's all bullshit. We're trying to get the dog notice. The house is burning, and the dog just wants to keep sitting there like, this is fine. This is great. What are you talking about? We're owning the libs. We're owning the libs. Shock Fox News in Texas. Yeah, I'm surprised. There was something that I feel like, I think just because Sinners has just been so well liked, they're like, Although there are certainly some people, the usual kind of grifter types that have like criticized the movie saying it's woke, which is like, okay. I love it. It's like Jim Crow sounds so woke. I'm just like, but that's what it was like. I know. They just got to maintain their fucking, their shtick, their spiel or whatever. You just go, okay. You just got to go, okay.